In January 1959, 9 experienced hikers set out on an expedition through the Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia. Their leader, Igor Dyatlov, was a skilled outdoorsman who had previously undertaken several demanding treks, but this one, though challenging, was supposed to be achievable. The group consisted of university students and recent graduates, all of whom were familiar with the rigors of wilderness travel. Yet despite their experience and preparation, something went terribly wrong. On February 12, 1959, the group was due to send a telegram to their sports club, notifying them of the completion of their journey. When no communication arrived, the families of the hikers began to worry. Initially, authorities believed the delay was likely due to unforeseen difficulties on the trail, perhaps bad weather or minor injuries. But as the days passed, concern grew, and by February 20th, a search and rescue team was dispatched to locate the missing hikers. What they found in the remote mountains of Kholat Shakal would haunt investigators and spark one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. The first clue came when the search party discovered the group's abandoned tent on February 26th. It was still upright, but had been slashed open from the inside. The searchers were immediately struck by the state of the campsite. The hikers' clothing, boots, and equipment were all left behind inside the tent. Outside, there were footprints in the snow leading down the slope, but they were strange. Many of the prints indicated that the hikers had fled the tent barefoot or in socks, despite the frigid temperatures. The trail led the searchers to the edge of the nearby forest, where they found the first 2 bodies beneath a large cedar tree. They were dressed only in their underwear, and their hands were raw and bloody, as if they had been trying to climb the tree. The branches above were broken, suggesting a desperate attempt to gain a better vantage point or escape something on the ground. Over the next few days, more bodies were discovered. 3 hikers, including the leader, Igor Dyatlov, were found scattered between the tent and the forest, all of them appearing to have died from hypothermia. It seemed as though they had tried to return to the tent, but succumbed to the cold along the way. The search continued for weeks, but it wasn't until May that the remaining 4 bodies were found. They were discovered buried beneath several feet of snow in a ravine deeper into the forest. These hikers were better dressed than the others, and their clothing showed signs that they had taken garments from their fallen comrades in an attempt to stay warm. But it wasn't their clothing or location that puzzled investigators. It was their injuries. While the first 5 victims were thought to have died from hypothermia, the final 4 hikers had sustained injuries far more severe and difficult to explain. One woman, Lyudmila Dubinina, had her ribs shattered and her tongue missing. 2 other hikers, Nikolai Thibault-Brignol and Semyon Zolotaryov, also had severe chest injuries. The force required to cause such trauma was described as comparable to a car crash, yet their bodies showed no external wounds, no bruising, no cuts, just internal damage. Adding to the mystery, traces of radiation were found on some of the hikers' clothing. There was no obvious explanation for how this contamination could have occurred, leading to even more speculation about what the group had encountered in the mountains. Investigators were left with a baffling series of questions. Why had the hikers fled their tent in such a hurry, leaving behind critical gear? Why were some of them undressed in the freezing cold? What had caused the fatal injuries in the last 4 victims? And where had the radiation come from? The search party's discovery of the last bodies in May 1959 only deepened the mystery. The unusual injuries found on some of the hikers and the unsettling condition of their remains led to a broader investigation that would leave more questions than answers. The Soviet government took control of the inquiry, but the findings were vague, adding fuel to the growing fire of speculation. An official statement was issued, declaring that the hikers had been killed by a compelling natural force. But what that force might have been was never clarified. The case was quietly closed in May 1959, leaving families and the public with no real understanding of what had caused the deaths of these 9 young people. Despite the official closure, the mystery of Dyatlov Pass refused to fade. Over the decades that followed, new theories emerged as more people began to question the government's version of events. The hikers' families, along with independent investigators, sought to uncover the truth behind the incident. The case files were examined, and the conditions of the victims' deaths were scrutinized, but each revelation seemed to complicate the story further. In 1990, after years of growing public interest, the case was reopened by Yuri Kuntsevich, the head of the Dyatlov Foundation. Kuntsevich had a personal connection to the incident, having been present at the funerals of some of the hikers in 1959. His investigation, along with others that followed, aimed to challenge the official explanation and uncover hidden details. However, despite their best efforts, the new investigations only added more layers of complexity. As more details emerged, they seemed to muddy the waters rather than provide clarity. The unusual nature of the injuries, the traces of radiation on the victims' clothing, and the eerie setting of their deaths all continued to defy simple explanations. One of the more controversial theories that emerged was that the Soviet military was involved, either directly or indirectly. Some investigators speculated that the group had stumbled upon a secret weapons test, possibly involving parachute mines or radiological weapons, and were caught in the aftermath. Others suggested that strange lights seen in the sky above the mountains around the time of the incident were the result of military flares or missile tests. These ideas gained traction with the discovery of radiation on some of the hikers' clothes, though no concrete evidence has ever surfaced to support them fully. There were also claims that the area surrounding Dyatlov Pass was used for covert military activities, and the hikers had unknowingly walked into a restricted zone. This theory posits that their deaths may have been accidental, with the authorities covering up the true cause to avoid public scrutiny or international condemnation. While military involvement is a popular theory, many experts lean toward natural causes as the most plausible explanation. The Ural Mountains are known for their harsh weather, and the region around Dyatlov Pass is particularly unforgiving. Sudden blizzards, freezing temperatures, and strong winds are common, and these conditions can easily turn deadly for even the most experienced hikers. One widely accepted theory is that the group may have been caught in a weather-related phenomenon known as a katabatic wind. These winds are sudden, powerful, and extremely cold, capable of driving even seasoned hikers into a panic. It's possible that the hikers heard or felt the wind approaching, and believing an avalanche was imminent, slashed their way out of the tent and fled into the night. In their disoriented state, some may have succumbed to hypothermia, while others, separated from the group, fell into the ravine, where the final four were found. This theory accounts for the lack of external trauma on most of the victims, as hypothermia and panic could explain much of their behavior. However, while the katabatic wind theory explains the chaotic flight from the tent, it fails to fully account for the severe internal injuries found on some of the hikers. The force required to cause the kind of chest trauma seen in Dubinina and Zolotaryov is enormous, comparable to a car crash or the impact of heavy debris. How could such injuries occur in the absence of any external damage? And then there's the matter of Dubinina's missing tongue, which remains one of the most perplexing and gruesome details of the case. Some have suggested that scavenging animals were responsible, though others argue that her body's position in the snow would have made this unlikely. To this day, no one knows for certain what caused these injuries. In addition to natural and military explanations, some theories drift into the realm of the paranormal. The indigenous Mansi people, who inhabited the region, spoke of Kholat Syakhl as a place of spiritual significance, referring to it as the Mountain of the Dead. Could the hikers have encountered something beyond the natural world, a force that modern science cannot explain? Others point to the mysterious light seen in the sky over the Ural Mountains on the night of the incident. Witnesses from nearby settlements reported strange glowing orbs hovering in the sky, leading some to suggest that the hikers might have had a close encounter with something extraterrestrial. While these claims are difficult to substantiate, they continue to fuel a small but persistent belief in otherworldly involvement. One of the more extreme theories posits that the hikers may have been subjected to some kind of psychological experiment, whether by the government or an unknown third party. This theory, though far-fetched, is supported by the seemingly irrational behavior of the group, fleeing their shelter without proper clothing or equipment in the dead of night. Could they have been exposed to a hallucinogen or psychological stressor that led them to act in such a way? These speculative theories, while fascinating, lack hard evidence and often venture into the realm of the fantastical. Yet they endure because the Dyatlov Pass incident itself defies simple explanation. The combination of bizarre injuries, unusual environmental conditions, and the hikers' strange behavior has left the door open for a wide range of interpretations. As much as science and logic try to account for what happened, the mystery remains shrouded in ambiguity. The Ural Mountains, where the incident occurred, are vast, remote, and unforgiving. Kolatsyakal, the mountain where the hikers met their tragic end, remains largely unchanged by time. For decades, it has stood as a silent witness to the events that unfolded on its slopes. It's a place where, for thousands of years, people have respected the power and mystery of the natural world, aware that the mountains hold both beauty and danger in equal measure. For some, the mountain has taken on an almost mythical significance. To this day, few people venture into this isolated region. Those who do report a deep sense of unease, as if the mountain itself carries the weight of the tragedy that took place there. The pass has become a site of pilgrimage for those drawn to the mystery, a symbol of the enduring enigma and the human need for answers. Today, more than 6 decades after the Dyatlov Pass incident, the area remains an eerie, desolate expanse, untouched by time and progress. For some, it is a place of pilgrimage, a journey into one of the coldest, most unforgiving landscapes in Russia, driven by a need to honor the 9 lives lost and to search for answers to one of the most haunting mysteries of the 20th century. Expeditions continue to the site, some by historians and investigators, others by thrill-seekers and conspiracy theorists who hope to uncover evidence that could finally explain what transpired on that fateful night. Each year, new theories emerge, but with every visit, the same overwhelming sense of isolation and silence greets those who venture into this frozen wilderness. The wind whispers across the snow-covered pass, and the mountain stands tall, unchanged, holding its secrets close. In the years following the tragedy, memorials were erected to honor the memory of the 9 hikers. At their university in Yekaterinburg, a monument was built, with plaques displaying the names of each of the victims. In Russia, their names are well known, and the story of their ill-fated journey has become a national legend. Each anniversary of the incident sees new tributes, as people from all walks of life are drawn to the mystery, paying their respects to those who died under such strange circumstances. Near the site itself, a memorial stone was placed in 1963, inscribed with the names of the hikers, standing as a solitary marker in the endless snow. Though humble, it is a reminder that the Dyatlov Pass incident is not just a story of intrigue and unanswered questions. It is a human tragedy. 9 young lives, full of promise and potential, were abruptly cut short by forces still not fully understood. The Dyatlov Pass incident has left an indelible mark on popular culture, both in Russia and around the world. Books, films, and documentaries have kept the story alive, offering countless interpretations and exploring every conceivable explanation for the hikers' deaths. Each new telling adds a layer of myth to the already enigmatic tale, with some works leaning into the supernatural and others focusing on the cold, hard facts. In 2013, the Russian film The Dyatlov Pass Incident, released internationally as Devil's Pass, brought renewed attention to the mystery, blending fiction with reality in a story about modern-day investigators who meet a similar fate while exploring the site. While the movie embraced a fantastical explanation, it tapped into the widespread fascination with the unknown, demonstrating how the case continues to inspire the imagination. The case also inspired several books, each offering fresh insights or alternative explanations. Historians, scientists, and armchair detectives have all weighed in, trying to solve the mystery, but no one has definitively cracked the case. The story of Dyatlov Pass has become a part of global folklore, standing alongside other great mysteries like the disappearance of Amelia Earhart or the enigma of the Bermuda Triangle. In recent years, the rise of the internet and social media has led to a resurgence of interest in the Dyatlov Pass Incident. Online communities have sprung up around the case, where amateur investigators pore over the available evidence and debate possible explanations. These forums are filled with speculative discussions, from meticulously analyzing the hikers' diaries and photographs to proposing new and unconventional ideas about what might have happened. Some online sleuths believe that the official records of the investigation were tampered with, or that crucial evidence was deliberately suppressed. These theories often point to inconsistencies in the forensic reports and the delayed release of certain documents as proof that something sinister was being covered up. Others dismiss the more outlandish theories, arguing that the simplest explanation, hypothermia, panic, and natural elements, offers the most plausible solution to the case. Yet with every piece of new information comes more questions. The mystery remains tantalizingly unsolved, and the internet has only widened the pool of speculation. The mountain on which the hikers perished, Kholat Shakal, has long been considered a place of spiritual significance by the indigenous Mansi people. For centuries, the Mansi avoided the area, believing it to be cursed or home to malevolent forces. In their language, Kholat Shakal translates to Mountain of the Dead, a name that only heightens the eerie atmosphere surrounding the site. Some theorists have suggested that the hikers inadvertently violated a sacred place or disturbed something they shouldn't have, leading to their doom. Others have looked into Mansi legends for clues, exploring the idea that the area might be home to spirits or entities that protect the mountain, punishing those who venture too close. However, there is no historical record of hostility between the Mansi and outsiders, and the tribe has consistently denied any involvement in the incident. Nevertheless, the ominous name of the mountain continues to loom large in the public imagination. Whether it is a reflection of ancient Mansi beliefs or a chilling coincidence, Kholat Shakal's name has become an inseparable part of the mystery. Despite the abundance of theories, some experts believe that the simplest answer may still be the most likely. The hikers fell victim to a combination of natural disasters and human error. Recent re-examinations of the case have revived the avalanche theory, with modern computer simulations suggesting that the hikers may have inadvertently triggered a slab avalanche when they set up camp on the slope of Kholat Shakal. In a slab avalanche, a large section of snow suddenly shifts and slides down the mountain, moving with great force. Such an event could have forced the group to abandon their tent in panic, cutting their way out and fleeing downhill to avoid being buried alive. The pressure from the moving snow could also explain the severe internal injuries suffered by some of the hikers, while hypothermia could account for the others' deaths. The avalanche theory, while plausible, still leaves some unexplained details, such as the radiation found on the hikers' clothing and Dubinina's missing tongue. But it offers a rational explanation that aligns with the known environmental hazards of the region. In the end, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains a mystery. Despite the many theories, investigations, and renewed interest, the truth of what happened to Igor Dyatlov and his fellow hikers is locked in the cold, silent expanse of the Ural Mountains. Theories will continue to emerge, and each new piece of evidence will spark fresh debates, but for now, the case stands as one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries of modern times. Perhaps the allure of the Dyatlov Pass lies not in the hope of finding answers, but in the power of the unknown. The Ural Mountains, with their harsh beauty and untamed wilderness, are a reminder of how little we truly control in the face of nature's might, and how many mysteries may still lie hidden in the remote corners of the world. The story of the Dyatlov Pass incident is a gripping tale of human perseverance, tragic loss, and the impenetrable mysteries of nature. The hikers, young and full of life, ventured into a place that defied their expertise and preparation, and what happened to them remains a subject of endless fascination. Whether it was a natural disaster, a human error, or something more extraordinary, the incident reminds us of the fragile line between life and death, especially in the face of the unknown. As we look back on their journey, we see not just the tragedy of 9 lives cut short, but also the enduring human quest for understanding. The Dyatlov Pass Incident symbolizes our deep curiosity and our desire to uncover the truth, no matter how elusive it may be. In the vast expanse of the Ural Mountains, where nature reigns supreme and mystery lingers in every shadow, we are reminded that some questions may never be fully answered. Yet perhaps that is what continues to draw people to the story. The possibility that, even in our age of technology and information, there are still forces beyond our comprehension, still mysteries that resist explanation. The tale of Dyatlov Pass remains, at its core, a testament to the unknown, an unsolved enigma that compels us to keep asking questions, to keep searching for the truth.